Okay, this is a reaction video. I've been away for a while. Sorry about that. I'm back. This is Mark Goldbridge. That's football. Arteta furious with Arsenal. Interesting to see what he has to say. I have not seen this video yet, but let's see what Mark Goldbridge has to say about Arteta being furious with Arsenal.
Hello everybody, welcome back to That's Football, and it's a big day. Newcastle against Arsenal tonight, but...
Yeah, this is the second leg of the League Cup semi-final. Newcastle is up 2-0 on Arsenal. We'll see how it plays out.
Arteta is furious, he's angry, he's disappointed with Arsenal's lack of activity in the January transfer window. And I tell you what, this is something we have been talking about as a community for a long time. And
yeah, the thing about Arsenal is Arsenal needs a striker. Okay, everybody thought that in the January transfer window they would get a striker. Okay, they made a late bid for Ollie Watkins, but which would seem kind of strange to me because Ollie Watkins for Aston Villa, he would not be able to play for Arsenal in the Champions League because the Champions League he would be cup tied with Aston Villa. But they tried to pay $40 million for him. Aston Villa held up for $60 million. Now Aston Villa got Marcus Rashford and Marcio Asensio. They could have let him go, but they didn't. And of course, he also walked up, hobbled against. In the game that they lost 2-0, who they lose to, I forget who they lost to, but it would have been interesting to see if they would have gotten Ollie Watkins.
Arteta can try and cover it up with new words and adaptability, but you can sense from that interview yesterday that he's massively disappointed. And I would focus in on this statement. We haven't achieved it. We are disappointed in that sense in relation to he said, look, we had a clear intention in the January transfer window, which is always there when a window is open, to explore the opportunities, to improve our squad with players that can impact it, and we haven't achieved it, so we are disappointed. I mean, that is a manager that sometimes takes the blame for the lack of a striker, very much putting that focus onto the club's failure to bring in a striker. Remember, they did bid for Ollie Watkins, and I you know what, I think there's a big difference between you're out with your mates and everybody's got a girlfriend or is married or a boyfriend, whatever, and one of your mates isn't, and you're saying, you should get a girlfriend. You should get a girlfriend. What about asking her on a date? What about thingies, mate? And they never do, and they never do. And you sort of like go, well, maybe they don't want one, but they should get one. But then when they actually do go on a date, and then they don't follow it up with a second date, and it was a great opportunity, you sort of like go, that's even worse from you not doing it, because you've actually shown that you are interested, and then you've ruined it. And
now, you know, when you I understand what he's saying there, but you know, when you look at Arsenal, they have dropped points at inopportune times when they could have gotten the win. Now, one of the big, they're out of the FA Cup again early in the third round, just like they did last year against Liverpool. This year they did Manchester United with penalty kicks in the third round. They had opportunities to score goals galore, but they just didn't able to take against Manchester United, and Manchester United move on because they made it to penalties, and they even had a man advantage too.
And I think with Arsenal, the attempt to get Watkins, the talks with Sesko, and to end up with nothing, I think it is a risk. And Arteta was asked about that. He said, well, is it a risk? And he said, it's not a gamble, it's a reality.
Sesko's another player for Leipzig who played in the Champions League, would not have been able to play for Arsenal in the Champions League because he'd been cup tied.
I think we have to face the reality as well that we have. So we're going to have to evolve and have more and more players from the academy and the ones that are here to be fitter for longer. I mean, for me, that's a bit of a white flag. I'm going to have to use youth players, and I'm going to have to hope that players that I've got stay fitter for longer. I think for the first time, it's an admission of frustration from Arteta that matches that of the Arsenal fans, and in a sense matches it from external fans who are looking.
Look, Arsenal is in second place, and they're going to finish in second place. I don't believe they're going to catch Liverpool. The last couple of seasons, they've been finished second place. They have been the bridesmaid, okay, to Manchester City and now to Liverpool because they have not addressed the one need that they need, and that is a striker, an out-and-out striker, an out-and-out goal scorer. Yes, they score goals. Yes, they beat Manchester City 5-1, but they are not a team that has... they're going to be hot like that, but they're going to be cold like that, and they don't have an out-and-out goal scorer that's going to help them get over the hump. And until they do, they're going to stay a second place team.
Looking at this title race and going, Liverpool are going to win this league unless Arsenal do something ambitious. And tonight's game, which we're doing as a watch-along, funnily enough, because I think this, out of the two, is the better game. I think Liverpool will turn Spurs over quite comfortably tomorrow at Anfield, whereas tonight, even though it looks like at 2-0 down, Newcastle have got it at St James's Park, Newcastle have lost their last 2 games in the Premier League there, and Arsenal look very good at the weekend. So I think that I think Arsenal can do it.
Yeah, Arsenal can do this, but it's going to be very, very difficult, especially without an out-and-out goal scorer. Now, the good news is they don't have to play on the weekend, so they can play their full team. They don't after the game. They don't have to worry about a game on the weekend because it's the FA Cup, and then you have to worry about the game next week in the Premier League. So you can play all your players. That is good for Arsenal.
It tonight, but funnily enough, it sort of fits into what we're talking about here. They're going to Newcastle. They need to score goals. That thing that they need that they didn't get in last summer's transfer window and this January transfer window isn't there again. So imagine Arsenal go to Newcastle today. They have the chances and they still go out. It will be there in 4K again. Why did we not get a striker? And I think that is what Arteta's frustration is. And I think that, I find it frustrating. I find it really frustrating. I find it so frustrating because it's, in a way, it's a bit different. It's a bit similar to what happened with Man United and Spurs. And I was talking about this on the United stand. Some Man United fans and journalists are going, Man United were right not to spend 8 million on Tell. Ha ha ha, look at Spurs. But I look at it and I go, it's a lot of money, but 8 million for a loan deal isn't that out of the ordinary. We got about that for Sancho from Dortmund last year when he got to the Champions League final and they covered his wages. So when you're desperate, you pay a bit of a tax in the second half of the season. I've said this before, at half time in a race, if you can get yourself a new pair of trainers, foot massage and a drink, are you going to pay for that or go, I'll see how I can do? I'm going to pay for it in the hope that that's going to push me beyond everybody else who hasn't done it. And that's what Spurs are trying to do. And it might go wrong, but if it doesn't go wrong, it's tens of millions of pounds in the Europa League or the Champions League if they win the Europa League. So I can see why Spurs have done that. On the flip side, Arsenal haven't done that. Arsenal are not going to get a new pair of trainers. They're not going to have a drink of the energy drink. They're just going to go, let's see what we can do.
Now, to be fair, Arsenal, this follows Arsenal's pattern. Okay, they generally do not overspend for players. Okay, this goes back to Arsene Wenger. When they thought they would get Higuain for that, I forget what summer that was, and they ended up not getting him. He ended up going to, I think, Juventus. Is what it is. Okay, that is Arsenal's pattern. They do not overspend for players. And, Aston Villa wanted 60. Arsenal's prepared to spend 40. Aston Villa gets Marcus Rashford and Marcus Asensio. And Arsenal ends up with nothing. And for Arsenal's standpoint, they're probably going to finish in second place this year, which is good. Okay, but again, you need to take that risk, like he's saying, to go over the hump, and you're not doing it.
And in the league, or whatever up front, I don't think you're going to have that impetus to put pressure on Liverpool. Will it be enough tonight? Will it be enough in the Carabao Cup? Will it be enough in the Champions League? And I don't think it will. I'm not saying that Arsenal would have won the league with an Ollie Watkins up front, but I think he would have scored some goals and given them a boost and got the crowd a bit excited. And I think it would have given the Arsenal fans just that little bit more excitement and belief that they can just, now we've got someone who can put the ball in the back of the net, we could really start winning these tighter games and look to win every single game. I mean, you've just beaten Man City, the champions, massively at your own place. Why could you not go to Anfield and win? Why could you not go and win 10 Premier League games in a row and put that pressure on Liverpool? But without that, relying on the Havertz up front or that.
And keep in mind, Liverpool have a game in hand against Everton. Now, Everton's been playing very good under David Moyes now, but if you lose, if they beat Everton, that puts them 9 points clear with 24 games played, 14 games left. That's an awful lot to pick up in 14 games, 9 points. Hopefully you win 3. Now, you've also got to play at Nottingham Forest at the end of the year. Nottingham Forest, their place played very well. Yeah, you beat them at the Emirates, but you're going to have to play them at City Ground. It's going to be very difficult.
I just don't know whether that's going to happen. I think there will be games where they just can't put the ball in the back of the net. Man United against Arsenal in the FA Cup a few weeks ago, down to 10 men. I've got to be honest, I didn't really feel threatened by Arsenal at any point for an hour. You put a good striker up there and I think it changes it. But as I say, it's really damning on Arsenal Football Club that, and I mentioned this in our transfer video the other day. I think it's really damning because there are clubs out there that in the January transfer window do want to do business. And then there's clubs that go, money's a bit, let's wait till the summer because of money. And it's a sad indication of football in general that in the Premier League now, the richest league in the world, where the money is absolutely huge, but we've still got clubs going, we'll wait till the summer. There's a whole story under there. There's a bonnet to be lifted here. Like, never has revenue been so big. And yet more and more clubs halfway through a race go, we'll wait for the summer. And if I'm...
Yeah, I agree with them there. You have all the money in the world. You can spend all the money in the world. You have a big TV deal, everything like that. But you don't want to spend your money or wait till the summer. And that's what Arsenal's going to do. And like Arsenal's going to finish in second or third place because they could slip up. And Nottingham Forest is playing very, very well. It could be, now second or third is not going to be that big of a deal, in terms of the Champions League. Not like it was a couple seasons when you put into groups and things like that. It's just going to be what it is. But, we'll see how it all plays out.
I'm the owner of the Premier League, or I'm trying to make the Premier League even better. I'm looking at it and going, every summer, it's the best league in the world, and we're back, and it's live, and it's like the Premier League, razzmatazz. But halfway through it, you have this transfer window where teams really should be going, let's do this, let's go again in the second half of the season. And teams sort of like go, yeah. And I look at Arsenal, and I look at them, and I go, you're sort of like saying, no, we'll wait till the summer.
Yeah, we'll wait till we'll finish second place. We tried again, we didn't make it. Oh well. Look, Arsenal. It looks like they've put up the white flag and given the title to Liverpool, and they're going to do what they can as far as the Champions League concerned. Maybe the League Cup, see what they can do there. But yeah, it looks like they've raised the white flag and said, second place, well, that's good enough.
We'll wait till next season because you could have done it now, and you definitely had the money to do it. You just didn't want to pay that extra 10 million. And there were options there. There are always options there. There's 4 or 5 strikers out there that they could have gone to around 70 million and done it. And they didn't, because they obviously think in the summer they can do a better deal. And I think it's a shame. And I think Arteta clearly thinks it's a shame. And I think Arsenal fans clearly think it's a shame. And I'll go back to what I said the other day as well. Bringing in that striker doesn't necessarily topple Liverpool for the league, but it might win you the Champions League.
Again, it depends, because Watkins is cup tied with the Champions League, so it's not gonna. But bringing in a striker would send a message to the Arsenal fan that, hey, we are trying, we're going to do everything we can. Liverpool has not won the trophy yet. We're going to do everything, and then it will also set up for next season, okay, and everything to go for it for next season. But yeah, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to win the Premier League. Doesn't guarantee you're going to win the Champions League. But again, we'll see how it all pans out. But it's just, it's one of those things that it would have sent a message to the fans that hey, we're not giving up on the championship this year. We're still going to fight for the Premier League.
It might win you the Carabao Cup. And what it certainly would do is give that player time to adjust so that next season they hit the ground running. Next season with your striker, what if in the first 4 games he hasn't scored a goal? Because he's adapting. If he's had 4 months, look at what Man City have done. I mean, Man City have bought 4 players.
If memory serves, Thierry Henry joined Arsenal, I think, in January or whatever it was, 2019 or whatever it was. And he didn't score for 8 or 9 games, I think it was, before he finally got his first goal, and then he ended up scoring, scoring goals and becoming an Arsenal legend. So yeah, I understand what he's saying here.
I mean, how have Man City spent £200 million in January? By the way, I mean, are we now just admitting that Man City are going to dominate football for the next 5 years again because the 115 stuff is not going to happen, and basically Man City's punishment is just to be shit for a few months and everyone will go, oh, they're shit now, and then they'll be brilliant again. I mean, I know it's a conspiracy, but I do find it incredible how Man City have suddenly really shit at the point where the Premier League and them are having a court case. And I'm not saying they've both had a chat and said, can you just be shit for a few months so that when the result comes out that you've got off with it, everyone can go, well, at least they.
Well, now we're talking about Manchester City's court case and everything that they're going to have to deal with, and who knows what's going to end up with that. And well, now that they're garbage, it's not like they're going to end up losing the Premier League because they're not really in it. In fact, I think they're out of the Champions League spots at this point in time. But we'll see how it all pans out. They just spent a ton of money to help their defense, and we'll see how that all pans out.
They're shit, and then next season you can be good again. But £200 million, and they're nowhere near Arsenal, and then Arsenal don't do it. Madness. Get your comments in. Smash a like.
Yeah, I have to agree with him, and I agree. Look, I'm an Arsenal fan. I freely admit it. I was disappointed that Arsenal didn't do any business, that they didn't bring in a forward. It is what it is. They're gonna see what happens at the end of the year. They're probably gonna finish in second or third. They're probably going to make it to the Champions League again, and we'll see what they do in the summer months. But it is what it is. Thanks for watching. Please click like, share, and subscribe for me. Please click like, share, and subscribe for Mr. Goldbridge, who does an outstanding job. I really enjoy his videos. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.